Alright guys, so our lesson this week once again is going to be out of the Super Hands book. We're going to be starting on chapter 4. So you'll get a PDF of this along with being in the music that I'm showing you in this video, okay? We're going to be doing pages 14, we're going to skip page 15 and then do page 16 and 17, and then once again you'll have an etude simulator to play at the end of this chapter, okay? A reminder to play through this entire video, even if it's something that you think you're good at already. It doesn't hurt to sit there and break it down again. Every single minute that you're practicing on this video, write in whatever it is that you need applying to this video. Just write down however many minutes the video is. I practiced the video for that long. Please make sure you're practicing through everything, okay? We're going to go ahead and get started on page 14, chapter 4. Okay, so starting at the top of page 14, we're working 16th notes with dynamics. I'm going to move through with only 3 tempos through a majority of these exercises, unlike the last video where I did 4 tempos per exercise. So again, if I play a tempo that's too fast for you to handle, make sure that you are taking different tempos to make sure that you can reach every tempo that we do in the video. So you can pause the video, take it at a different tempo that might be easier for you, work it up, and then jump back in whenever you reach the tempo. I'll make sure that you know what tempo we're working at every time. If you look, every tempo is kind of divided up amongst about 20 to 30 beats. So for instance, this first one is from 114 to 134. So because that's a 20 beat difference, I'm going to start off 20 beats slower than 114. So we're starting at 94 right now. I'll play through it a couple times at 94. We'll talk about it. We'll go into 114, play through it. 134, play through it, move on to the next one. So if you can't play it at those 3 tempos, but you can play it at something in between, practice in between, and then line up with the video once you reach those tempos, okay? So starting with the first one, we've got 16th note dynamics. Notice that we're starting off in piano. The first time through this, we are not going to take the first repeat, but we will take the second repeat, okay? Not the first repeat, we'll take the second repeat, okay? Another thing to think about when we're playing a lot with dynamic range and contrast, especially on a snare drum or most drum battery instruments, you want to think about piano being at the edge of the drum, not just low where you're at, but low towards the edge of the drum. And as you get louder, you move closer towards the center of the drum, okay? So we're going to start off with the very first one, starting off at piano, okay? How small can you make it and how far to the edge? 3 inches all the way up to forte, which would be 12 inches. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, and. No repeat. Take the repeat. Okay, so that last line, or the last 2 measures, it moves a lot quicker, moving back and forth, but also you're going to release on that low note. 1 E endo, 2 E endo, 3 E endo, 4 E endo, 1 E endo, 2 E endo, 3 E endo, 4 E endo. Soft release. Okay, let's do that one more time. Again, the first 4 measures, there's no repeat. And then the measures 5 and 6 with the repeat, we will take those. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. Repeat. Okay, so next we're going to be taking it at 114. Again, we're looking for consistency and dynamic contrast. So are your low ends sounding exactly the same every single time? Are your high ends sounding exactly the same every single time? And are you getting that almost bell curve musical crescendo and decrescendo? So not so much of just going up perfectly every time, but kind of waiting a second and then bring it up, okay? Same thing for dropping off, okay? See if we can apply that. We'll play through it 3 times. Still no repeats on the first 4 measures. 1, 2, ready, first time. Repeat. Okay, good. Try it again. 1, 2, ready, go. Last time. 1, 2, ready, go. Good. Okay, so next we're going to be taking it at 114. Again, we're looking for consistency and dynamic contrast. So are your low ends sounding exactly the same every single time? Are your high ends sounding exactly the same every single time? And are you getting that almost bell curve musical crescendo and decrescendo? So not so much of just going up perfectly every time, but kind of waiting a second and then bring it up, okay? Same thing for dropping off, okay? See if we can apply that. We'll play through it 3 times. Still no repeats on the first 4 measures. 1, 2, ready, first time. Repeat. Okay, good. Try it again. 1, 2, ready, go. Last time. 1, 2, ready, go. Good. 3 reps now. We're going full tempo, 134. Again, just consistency and touch as far as how soft you're keeping it down low, but still putting sound into the instrument. And then the big ends, making sure you're not getting too crazy. You're not breaking vertical. You're not doing anything weird angle-wise with your stick or anything like that. Everything's consistent. It's just the heights that change and the sound that changes. That's it. Here we go. 134. Exact same way we've been playing it. No repeats on the first 4 measures. 1, 2, edge to center. Ready, go. Again, 1, 2, ready, go. Last time. 1, 2, ready, go. Okay, so there's your 16th note dynamic changing. Make sure again that if you can't play at any of those specific tempos, take it at some tempo in between and then slowly bump it up to what you need it to be. All right, Alright, the next part of our video is going to be 16th note, 3-note timing. We all know how to do this. 6th graders, we even started working on this before we left for break. So we all know how to apply this. This is 2-beat and 1-beat out of the grid. We've done it before with 4 beats where we play a whole measure of 16th notes and then a whole measure of the 3-note breakdown. This one's starting on the 2 beats a measure for the check and for the breakdown, okay? So if this is something that gives you some trouble, you can also apply this. We'll do it one time with 4 beats of each thing, and then from there on out, we're just going to play what's being played here. So we're going to start it off at 80 beats a minute. Okay, so set your metronome to 80 or listen along with this. The goal here is for the motion-based timing exercise to be consistent motion the entire time. Okay, so in the first 2 patterns, or sorry, every other pattern, one hand is consistent. So in the first pattern, your right hand is consistent. And in the next pattern, your left hand is consistent. And it switches back and forth, okay? We're going to do this one time with 4 notes, a whole measure of 16th notes, a whole measure of the pattern. So take a look at the music right here, or in your music, and look at each measure in the first 4 measures, except I want you to extend each thing by 2 beats. So instead of going 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and 4 E and, you're going to go 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. Okay? So let's try that. The 4 beats per measure, okay? And then after we've played that, you go straight into what you see in the music right here, okay? So here we go, 80 beats a minute. 1, 2, 4 beats each measure. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E, 2 E, a 3 E, a 4 E, a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a E and a E and a E and a music. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E 4 E, a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 E and a 2 E and a E and a E and a 1 E and a 2 E and 1 E and a 4 E, a 1 E and a 2 and a 3 E and a E and a stop. Okay. Now, as we play through this, now that we're going to start playing only what's on the screen or what's in your music, no more of the 4 stuff, we will take both repeats. Okay, I didn't take them that time just because it's a longer excerpt to play through, but we will take both repeats now. Okay, so now we're playing what is in the music, only what's in the music, no longer playing the 4 beats of check and all that kind of fun stuff, and play the repeats. Okay, so here we go. Let's only do it 2 more times at 80, and then we'll bump up the tempo. 1, 2, what's in the music? Repeat. Repeat. Okay, cool. So now that we understand what we're doing there, let's do it one more time. 1, 2, ready, go. Cool. So it's all consistent sticking as long as everything's flowing. It's almost like stick control where you want every note to sound exactly the same even though you're playing different stickings. You want every note to sound even as far as 16th note spacing. No different like 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and 4 E and you don't want any weird accents or anything like that. Everything's the same height and the same distance. Now Now we're bumping it up to 110, which is the slowest tempo in the book. We're going to play through it 3 times, repeats on everything as written. Here we go. Spacing and heights. And 1, 2, ticka ticka da, ready, go. Should feel good, should feel nice and even and flowing. Again, if you can't play it at that tempo, slow it down, beef it up to this tempo, okay? Try it again. I'm only going at about 9 inches right now, so you don't need to be doing anything crazy, super high. 9 inches is perfectly fine. Here we go. And 1, 2, again, and go. One more time. 1, 2, ready, go. Good. 140, full tempo, consistency. We can even, I'm going to go to about 9 inches, but if you need to take it about 6 inches, that's totally fine. Keep it consistent, whatever height you pick. Don't go anything past 9 inches. That's already pushing it a little bit, okay? But consistent feel, consistent touch, consistent spacing. Here we go. 140. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, go. Nice and fast, feels good in the hands, keep it consistent. And 1, 2, ready, go. Last time. 1, 2, ready, go. Okay, consistency, keep it. Thing on page 14 at the bottom is called shups. Shups is a type of triplet exercise that works on doubles in different partials of the triplet. So the first 2 partials, the second 2 partials, and the first and third partial. Okay, so it's kind of like a double beat exercise, and we play. Right? Okay. It's basically a triplet double beat exercise. Okay. So to make sure that you're playing the accurate rhythms, try filling in each exercise by playing the rest in the opposite hand. So something you can start off by doing, for instance, this first measure, you've got trippa, 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 or 1 and a, 1 and a, 1 and a, 1 and a. Right. So start off. You can see in the first line we're going to play all right hand, then we're going to take the repeat and play all left hand. Okay, so think about that rest being the other hand if it's something that's giving you trouble right now. Play on the rim or play on your leg, okay? So for instance, if I was taking it nice and slow, I'd have 1, 2, triple it, go. Right? Or on your leg. and then eventually bring it down to where you can't play, or you can play it without the rest at all. Okay? And then each measure, a different partial is going to have the rest. So in the first measure, the third partial has the rest. In the second measure, the second partial has the rest. And in the third measure, the first partial has the rest. After we play the repeat off of both hands, you go into playing each pattern for only 2 beats. So originally we were playing 1, 2, 3, 4. Starting on the second line with the repeat, we're only going to play 2 times. 1, 2. And then move on to the next pattern. On the last line, you're just playing it 1 time. Okay? So we're going to take this at, starting off at 104 beats a minute with a triplet set. Okay? And actually, really quick, let's take it down another 20. Let's go to 84 first. And we're going to play it 1 time just for, in case this is something that's a bit of a challenge for you. Let's take it slow so you can really break it down first, okay? So let's do the first line, just the right hand. Don't worry about the repeat just yet. And play with the rest being played with the other hand on your leg, okay? I'm going to play it on the rim so you can hear it, but you play it on your leg. Here we go. 1, 2, triplet, go. Okay, try that again. Do just the first measure. 1, 2, first measure, go. Again, ready, go. Again, ready, go. Next measure, you're putting the rest on the second partial. 1, 2, 3, 4 is what your right hand is playing. You're going 1, 2, 3, 4, up, and just hopping there. Okay, again, I'm going to play on the rim. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, up. 2, again, and go. 1, 2, 3, 4, up. 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, up. 2, ready, last time. 1, 2, 3, 4, up. Okay, last one, the rest is on the downbeat. So you're thinking 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1, 2, ready, and 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1, 2, and the 1 will be released with the left hand. So let's try adding that on. 1, 2, ready, and 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1, 2, ready, and 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1. Okay, so now let's try to put all that together. 1, 2, ready, 3 measures. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And a 1, 2, again, and go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. And stop. 2, again, and go. And then you would do the exact same thing off your left hand. So play the last measure, which is measure 3. The last measure, the first line, with the right hand, and then play the first measure off the left hand. Okay, so it's going to sound like this. 1, 2, measure 3, rest, and a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Okay, one more time on that, and 1, 2, ready, and rest, and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Okay, so now let's play the whole first line with the repeat. 1 time through off the right hand, 1 time through off the left hand. 1, 2, ready, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 2 and a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 1. Okay? And then again, you play the rest of it, same thing, but you're only playing each thing for 2 beats. Okay? So now let's bump it back up to 104, the tempo we were originally taking at, and let's see if we can play through the whole thing. We're taking all the repeats. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 and 2 and 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 3, 4, and 1 and 2, and 3 and 4, and 1 and 3 and 4, and 1. Okay? If you cannot play that right now, you need to go back to the slower tempo. The original tempo I was taking was 84. If you need to go 64, if you need to go 44, that's okay. Okay? Take it at a slower tempo. This is not an easy exercise. I almost even want to say 6th graders, we could skip this exercise or only play it at about 64. Okay? Because this is a very challenging exercise to play. Okay? It's a lot of mental thinking. Okay? But let's try it again. Same tempo. Okay? Really count, especially on the last two measures. I kept saying 3 when it's actually 4. 1 and 2, and a 4 and 2, or 1 and 2, and a 4 and 5, and a 1 and 2, and a 4 and 5. Okay? So, excuse me for counting that wrong. Here we go. Back at the beginning. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and. Okay, last time. 1, 2, ready, go. So here we go. Now we're at 124. We're focusing on our heights staying consistent. I would suggest going at about 6 inches. If you can comfortably play it at 9 inches, knock yourself out. But again, I highly suggest doing 6 inches on this one. My Met died, so we're moving over to the iPad now. But we've got 124 on the Met. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, go. Again, 1, 2, ready, go. Last time. 1, 2, ready, go. Okay, so now we're on our full tempo, which is a 144. Again, I would highly suggest going 6 inches on this one. There's no need to go any higher than that. Playing drums is not about how high or how fast or how hard you can play. It's about how consistent, clean, and perfect that you can play, okay? So 6 inches is going to set us up for more success. If 6 inches is too high, play at 3 inches, okay? But just keep it a consistent height all the way through, just like you would play your normal double beat. So here we go at 144. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, go. One, two, again, 2, ready, go. Last time, 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, go. Even consistency, okay? That's the end of page 14. So now remember we are skipping page 15. We're going on to page 16, okay? So page 16, we have eighth note accent grid, making sure that our accents and tap quality between our hands are staying consistent, okay? It's a lot of downstroke, upstroke, prep stroke, full stroke, stuff like that, okay? So there's 4 different parts to this. There's the first 2 the first 2 lines, which is just moving the partial in every other beat. The second section, starting at letter A, is a 3-note accent. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Motion. Letter B is moving full strokes, so full down, full down, full down, full down. Okay, it's not gonna be that fast, but you understand the concept. And then on letter C, it's alternating downstrokes. Okay, 2-part accents that are moving across. Okay, we're gonna move through this one fairly quickly. I'm only gonna play 2 times at each tempo. We're gonna do 3 tempos total. Okay, so your focus really while we're working through this, since it's such a longer exercise, is to really focus on, are my heights all matching up? Are my strokes looking consistent? Do I feel comfortable as I play, or does it feel awkward as I'm moving through these accents? The harder accents are going to be the upbeat accents, okay? The left-hand accents. We knock them out pretty easy in the first 8 measures, but then it gets a little fuzzier because we're almost required to use an upbeat accent almost every measure from letter A to the end, okay? So you got to really count and focus on that. We're starting off at 120 beats a minute, okay? Here we go. 1, 2, this is alternating. 1, 2, ready, and. Keep the inner beats low. And. 2, 4, 2, 4, and 2, and. Letter A. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and. Letter B. Full stroke, then downstroke. And. 2, 3. 2, 3. And. Letter C. 1 and. 3 and. 1 and. 3 and 2 and 4 and 2 and 4. 2 and 4 and 2 and 4 and 1 and 3 and 1 and 3 and stop. And we can really least with an accent on that last one, okay? Measure 30 and 31 on the last line. Take a look at that really quick. Measure 30 and 31 on the last line. You have 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1. So your right hand, the first right hand on beat 4 is a full stroke. You have tap, or actually technically upstrokes, right? For measure 30, you have up, up, down, down, up, full, down, down. Up, down, down, up, full, down, down. Goodness. Up, down, down, up, full, down, down. Okay? Up, down, down, up, full, down, down. Is what you have. Measure 30 going into 31. Okay? Let's do that whole thing one more time at this tempo, and then we'll bump up the tempo. Here we go. 1, 2, inner beats. 1, 2, ready, and 1, 3, 1, 3, and 2, 4, 2, 4, and 1, and 3, and 3, 2, and 4. Oh, I'm sorry. Measure 15. 1, 2, ready, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 1, 2, and 2, 3, 2, 3, and down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, and 4, and 2, and 4, 2 and 4 and 2 and 4 and 1 and 3 and 1 and 3 and stop. Okay? All about the heights and how you're operating those, okay? Next, we're bumping our tempo up 30 beats all the way to 150. Again, if this is something that's a little out of your range, then take it somewhere between 120 and 150. Break it down a little bit. Okay? Other than that, 2 times through at 150. Here we go. And 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and. Okay, I think I might have messed up the transition measure 16 to 17, so let's try that again. Starting on that though, measure 16, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. I think I added an extra beat in there. Okay, so that should be a full stroke on that last accent on measure 16 going into measure 17, letter B. Okay, one more time, here we go, whole thing. 1, 2, okay? And then again, that full stroke going into measure 17, that next first action in measure 17 is also a full stroke, right? So you have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Full, down, okay? 4, 1, 2. So make sure you're paying attention to that. All right, moving on to our last tempo at 180. We are going 180, okay? Keep everything low and controlled, consistent heights. Every accent should be the exact same height. Every inner beat should be the same height. Okay, think about your preps, your upstrokes, your downstrokes, your full strokes. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and. Last time. And 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and. Okay. Again, if you're playing a specific tempo and you don't feel comfortable moving on to the next tempo, pause the video, put that tempo on your metronome, and keep playing it until you do feel comfortable, and then slowly beef it up. I'm merely only hitting checkpoints for you guys. Okay, so just because I'm only taking 3 different tempos and only doing 2 reps doesn't mean that's all you should do. If you don't feel comfortable, put more effort into that slower tempo and staying consistent with it. Okay. All right, so the next section is the bottom of page 16. It's one of my more favorite rudiments to play. It's called a Herta. And what a Herta is basically it's kind of like playing a triplet with a diddle somewhere in the partial, but instead of doubling the diddle, you single the diddle. So instead of playing something like you're singling it. Okay, so that's what we're going to be working on. 3 different tempos. We're going to go 88, 108, and 128. We will take the repeat. That's after measure 2. Okay, and we will take each section 3 times. Okay, so what we're basically doing here is you're starting off by playing a paradiddle, right? And everyone knows what the paradiddle is. It's a specific sticking rhythm for 3 partials, which is typically 2 of the same sticking followed by the other sticking. So right, right, left, or left, left, right. Okay, I will tell you right now we're going to do this video off the right, but please practice it off the left. I've been playing drums longer than all of y'all have been alive, I feel like, and yet I still struggle with my left hand Hertas. Okay, my right hands are nice and fine, my left hand, I'll show you in a second. Okay, but we're going to take it slow. Everything's going to be off the right. I highly, highly suggest you pause the video and run through everything off the left as well. Okay, especially for those of you that are still in the very beginning of your development, this is a great time to learn it because I didn't even learn how to play these until college. Okay, so it's going to be a lot more comfortable for you to play them now in 7th and 8th grade, even 6th graders that are going to be watching this. This is the time to do this. Okay, so 88 is what we're taking it at. We're playing paradiddles. Essentially, all we're doing is that is your check: right, right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, and then the Herta is just adding in a 16th note. So the sticking is still staying the same. Your left hand just adds in 1E and 1E and 1E and 1E and right? Okay. Right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. Okay. Keep the 8th note pattern consistent with the triplets. Okay. So here we go. At 88, 1, 2, playing the repeats. 1, 2, ready, and right, right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left. Dig it up, dig it up, dig it up, dig it up, right, right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left. And again, don't need to play this at 12 inches. I'd tell you not to play at 12 inches. The highest that you can play it right now at the slower tempo would be 9 inches. Otherwise, highly suggest playing 3 to 6 inches, okay? So try it again. Keep it low, keep it consistent. Do not rush or crush the 6 tuplets, okay? The 16th notes. Don't go. Right? Don't try to rush that, okay? Dig-a-da-da, dig-a-da-da. Say it with me. 2, ready, and dig-a-da-da, 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 dig-a-da-da. Stop. Okay? So let's play it again. And 1, 2, ready, and right, right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left. Dig-a-da-da, 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 dig-a-da-da. Right, right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left. Dig-a-da-da, 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 dig-a-da-da. Right, right, left, right, right, left. Dig-a-da-da, dig-a-da-da. Right, right, left, right, right, left. Dig-a-da-da, dig-a-da-da. Right, right, left. Dig-a-da-da. Right, right, left. Dig-a-da-da. Dig-a-da-da. Stop. Sorry, messed up that last measure. Okay, one more time. 1, 2, last time, and go. Okay, and then again, try to play it one time off the left hand. Let's try it off the left hand. It might not be pretty for me. At the slow tempo, it might be okay. At the faster tempo, it's definitely not good. Here we go. Left hand, so left, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. 1, 2, one time, and go. That wasn't bad. The faster tempo will be uglier. Alright, so now we're bumping it up to 108, moving it 3 times through all the way. Again, 6 inches or lower, not even 9 inches. I wouldn't even worry about that. Keep it low, because typically when you're playing something like this, you're not trying to play it unless you're marching DCI or WGI. There's never going to be a time you're going to be playing Hertas that big. Okay? So keep it low. 6 inches max. 1, 2, off the right. 1, 2, ready, and... Dig-a-da-da, 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 dig-a-da-da. Dig-a-da-da, dig-a-da-da. Dig-a-da-da, dig-a-da-da. Ooh, I made some mistakes in there. Let's try it again. 1, 2, ready, go. Those mistakes are the result of me thinking of something else while I'm playing instead of focusing on what I should be playing. So therefore, it's causing me to mess up, right? So that's the importance of staying focused. But it's okay to make mistakes as long as you make new ones, right? Here we go. One more time at this tempo. 1, 2, 6 inches, and... Again, try it off the left one time just to see what happens. 1, 2, left hand, go. Left, left, right, left, left, right, left, left, right, left, left, right. Again, I'm surprising myself because normally that's not that pretty. Okay, so practice that off of both hands. Some of y'all might have played that with your left hand just now and it might have been atrocious, right? So take the time, break it down. Don't think just because we're not breaking the left hand down in the video doesn't mean you don't need to break it down in real life, because you will have to do that later on in life in percussion. So prepare yourself now. Don't wait until it comes up. Don't wait until it comes up in the thing of music, whether it's a marching show or a percussion ensemble or something like that, and you go, oh man, I had the chance to really work on these and I didn't, right? So really focus on practicing on some of those things. All right, so now we're at the final tempo, 128, definitely keeping it low. 6 inches is the max. I would even probably suggest primarily playing at 3 inches, okay? You know what to do, you know the expectations. Let's take it at 128, let's do it. 1, 2, right hand, right, left, go. Feels good. And 1, 2, ready, and. Last time. 1, 2, ready, and. Making a mistake in the second to last measure, okay? The other important thing about this, guys, especially if you're in drumline in high school, is this is kind of the basis for a breakdown for a Paradiddle Diddle exercise. So part of what I love about Herta is it's a check pattern for Paradiddle Diddles. So if you look at it, a Paradiddle Diddle is that exact check pattern of right, right, left. And then when you play the Herta, you've already got the first 2 partials of the Paradiddle Diddle. The other 2 are just sitting there waiting. You just have to check, right? So if I double those right, left afterwards, instead of right, left, and I double it. So there's a lot of times when we play a Paradiddle Diddle breakdown where we're going pa-da-da, 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 Herta, 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 pa-da-da, 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 Paradiddle tap, Paradiddle tap, Paradiddle tap, Paradiddle tap, pa-da-da, 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 tap, double, double tap, double, double tap, double, double tap, double, double tap, okay, so that's another reason why Hertas are a big deal for me. I really like them, okay? Like promised, let's do it one time off the left, this tempo. I know this one's going to be bad, but let's try it. 1, 2, left hand, ready, and. It wasn't horrible. Usually it's like something bad, okay? My only issue that I know that I have is I crush the 16th notes too much, right? I'm going, I crush those too much, so I need to open them up, and every now and then my left hand gets heavier than my right hand. Or it's not even that, it's more my right hand gets softer. My left hand's actually staying consistent, but my right hand gets softer. So that's something that I would need to work on off of left hand Hertas, okay? Awesome. All right, so now we've moved over to page 17. We're on our last section before our etude for the chapter, okay? This one is just working on accents and, I'm sorry, not accents, flams, and just putting them on different partials, really. That's kind of all it is, okay? Putting it on a downbeat, putting on 2 downbeats, and then putting on an upbeat, and then putting on 2 upbeats, okay? So for this one, since it's 8 notes, it's fairly simple, and we all understand how to execute a flam. It's just a matter of technique practice. We're gonna go 3 different tempos, 2 times per tempo, okay? We're gonna go at 100, 120, and 140. The importance here is keeping your grace note down. Keeping your grace note down, okay? As well as thinking about your downstrokes, your upstrokes, and your tap strokes, okay? So here we go, 100, 2 times 3. 1, 2, this is alternating. 1, 2, alternating, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, up, down. 1 and 2 and flam on 3. Next line, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 4 and stop. Okay, release low. Since the first beat of every single measure is low, we're going to release that last note on the low right hand, okay? So do it one more time at this tempo. 1, 2, ready, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. Okay, grace notes down. Keep the grace notes down. Accents, focus on all that. We're going 120 now. 2 times through. 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and. One more time. And 1, 2, ready, and. Cool. And now we're at our last tempo, full tempo at 140. We know what to do. So let's get it. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2. Keep it low and go. Last time. 1, 2. Last time. Ready, and. Cool? Alright, so that's everything for chapter 4. Please make sure that you are understanding everything as opposed to not learning at all. Make sure that you've understood what each exercise gives to you, because you need all of that to apply to chapter 4's etude, okay? There's one or two things in the etude that were on page 15 that we didn't technically work on, but it's not something that's out of this world that you can't play. It was more of just different accent patterns on stick control, which, like I said in the last video, I don't really approve of, just because it teaches some weird habits, and I don't really like that. So using it every now and then in a measure or a couple beats or so is not the end of the world, but practicing an entire exercise that's emphasizing that accent pattern on stick control, I don't really think that's a healthy thing, okay? So from here, you finish this video, log that time. Next, you have the Chapter 4 Etude Simulator. I hope you guys liked the last one. I hope it helped out a lot. Same thing's going to be done for this one. It's going to start off at 80 beats, and it's going to go 100 beats, 120, and 140. You'll have about 4 to 8 reps per tempo, and then once you're done, submit a video of you playing Chapter 4's Etude with a metronome in the background. 7th through high school, you guys played at 140. 6th graders, you only have to play it at 120. Okay? Awesome, guys. Happy drumming.